This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
In the early afternoon of Friday, November 22nd, 1963, I joined the handful of University of Oklahoma Russian-language students trickling into class. The launch of Sputnik, a short 5 years in the past, had taught us that the USSR was a credible Cold War threat, and Robert Vlock, our charismatic, chain-smoking professor, had assured us that those who knew Russian would be able to name their own terms in life. While his assertion was somewhat exaggerated, speaking and reading Russian served me well in later life. Our class met in the small corner room of the university's Gothic Bissell Library. On the way in that Friday, I noticed my economics professor, Jim Hibden, hunched over a book, sitting at a large table just outside the classroom. The session was about to begin as classmate Ken Studebaker rushed in with news that was already shaking the world. "The president has been shot in Dallas. All classes are canceled." We all hurried from the classroom without exchanging a word. On the way out, I told Hibden the news. "The president has been shot." Usually expressionless, he looked at me in shock and perhaps disbelief, and hurried away to find out for himself. Coincidentally, I would meet Professor Hibden 7 years later at a job interview at the University of Oklahoma, on the very day Robert Kennedy lay dying from an assassin's bullet. The RFK tragedy reminded both of us of our fleeting interaction outside my Russian class on November 22nd, 1963. Earlier that Friday morning in 1963, as I prepared for classes, I vaguely registered the fact that the president had visited my hometown of Fort Worth the day before and was due in Dallas today. I had given some thought to cutting classes to go see him. Had I done so, I would have perhaps witnessed the motorcade and the public murder of a president. As it was, I avoided that trauma, but settled for learning about it at a distance. Not much of a distance at that. Dallas and Norman, Oklahoma, are close enough to each other that I could almost feel the shock waves emanating. On that November day, I was certainly the only person at the University of Oklahoma, and one of the very few Texans, to know both Lee and Marina Oswald. But I had no inkling that either was, or might be, even remotely involved in the horrific act taking place at Dealey Plaza.